A fire practically every day. We went to a fire. Some of them were very minor, kitchen fires and things. And usually, whenever we would make a fire at night, it would be something very bad. These old houses were this neighborhood is real old, and it was just went with the territory. But we also had we had back in the back here. Well, it's not here now, but there was a large wooden structure which was our hose rack. And when we would make a fire, the old fire hose was cotton jacketed. So it had to be washed and dried thoroughly. So we would stretch the hose out on this hose rack, and 3 times a day we'd have to go out and turn it. Our station routine was on Saturday was what we called apparatus day. And at the time we had to get on creepers, and not only did we wash the top of the fire truck, we got underneath them and kerosened the bottoms of them. This was a very old tradition, and it was right about this era that we started changing over, because it was a very unnecessary thing. It was a tradition in the fire department, and to keep all the apparatus clean. And at the time, we were told that we were supposed to be looking for loose bolts and anything that was wrong was underneath the truck. But it was not a very pleasant chore. On Mondays we had our Monday was yard day, which we called. We had to cut the grass, and all of the windows in the station. Every Monday we washed inside and outside the windows. This was here again. This was, I think, from the older days whenever they didn't have a whole lot to do, and it was a matter of just keeping everybody busy. Where y'all are standing right now was our parking lot. There was a large hedge there, and back in the back here, it was a brick parking lot, the old red brick. This piece of concrete right here in the ground was installed in around 1980. It was put here for our radio tower. You can see where the bolts are coming out of the concrete. That held the radio tower, which extended up past the top of the station. And that piece of concrete right there is about 8 feet deep in solid concrete. I don't think it'll ever come up. There was a lot of real good firemen that worked at this station, and one of them right now is the fire chief of Pasadena. He was a young man when I knew him, and older fellow now, but he's the fire chief of Pasadena.
Could you tell us about the
The
horses?
horses were originally in 1910 when my grandfather was here. The apparatus were pulled by horses. The inside of the station had grooves in the concrete where the horses wouldn't slip when they were running out. And there was racks up above. There were some things that held the harnesses, where the harnesses would drop down on the horses. Right here, from here on to the front, right about where that window is, on the inside, when I got here, it was our kitchen. At the time the station was built, that was the stall where they kept the horses. There was one on this side, one on the other side of the station. And they later converted the stall into our kitchen, and the one on the other side was our watch office, which at night one person would have to stand watch. We called it the night watch. And you'd have to listen to the radio all night. When a fire would come in on the other side of town even, you'd have to get up and write down the box number, the time it came in, the time it was tapped out, and then we kept records of all of that stuff. I'm sure they're probably in some kind of archives now, but at the time we would put them in the captain's log and send them on to the headquarters. And all across here it was all houses when I was here. They're gone now.
Tell us about the neighbor lady.
But I was telling y'all about Monday being yard day. At the time, there was a lady that lived next door here that we would cut her grass on Monday because just out of the kindness of our heart. And she was a real nice lady, but she was a terrible, terrible cake maker. And she would make us cakes for cutting her grass. When we bring the cakes back to the station, they would hardly ever get eaten. But one particular time, she decided she wanted to come over and watch us eat the cake. We ate the cake, but after that, we quit cutting her grass. She was a very good person.
What about the dog? Thank you very much.
There's also a dog that's buried in the front of the station. It was killed in 1948. It was hit by one of the trucks. They buried it in front of the station, and it's buried in a baby casket. It was a big deal at the time. But when we left here in 1987, we took the marker to the new station, which is on navigation in Delano, but the dog is still there. And that's just a little bit of history that's left here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Hey,